Ever looked at something utterly real, right there in front of you, but felt a deep, unsettling certainty that it simply and couldn't be? Not a trick of the light, not a shadow, but a solid object that defies everything you thought you knew about reality. It's that subtle fracture in the ordinary, a moment when the world peels back, just enough to hint at an impossible truth. It's a flicker of recognition, a primal unease that whispers of lost knowledge, a deeper understanding just out of reach, humming beneath the surface of everyday life. This exact, unsettling sensation is what awaits anyone who first encounters the Voynich Manuscript. For centuries, this enigmatic volume has baffled scholars, defied linguists, and tantalized occultists. It's a book undeniably real. Parchment, ink, illustrations, yet fundamentally impossible. A text written in an unknown language, depicting plants that don't exist, and cosmic diagrams unlike any recorded science. So, what waits the Voynich? It's far more than just an archaic historical curio. This strange, stubbornly silent book, created hundreds of years ago, holds a peculiar and often unrecognized relevance for us now. In a world saturated with information, where every secret seems a click away, the Voynich stands as a stark, defiant monument to the enduring power of the unknown. It reminds us that some truths are guarded by veils we haven't learned to part, and some stories resonate deeply because they refuse to yield their secrets. When you finally open its digital scans, or if you're among the privileged few who've held its parchment pages, there's an immediate, palpable sense of encountering something profoundly dubious. It feels ancient, yes, but not like a familiar medieval text. This isn't scholastic Latin or ornate devotional calligraphy. This is something else entirely. The pages, about 9 by 6 inches, are made from vellum. Cured animal skin, usually calf skin, smooth and durable. Even after centuries, the ink is dark brown, sometimes reddish, applied with a quill. Its illustrations are vibrant greens, browns, reds, blues, and yellows. The book is thick, originally over 270 pages. About 240 remain. Its plain, unadorned binding gives no outward hint of the extraordinary contents within. Here, at last, we begin to uncover its hidden layers. The sheer volume of text is astonishing. Rows of writing flow left to right, organized into paragraphs, and even short chapters, often with illustrations. But here's the immediate, striking anomaly. The script itself. It's utterly unlike any known human language or writing system. It features a unique alphabet, often called Voynichese, composed of characters blending Latin script, Arabic numerals, and entirely novel forms. There are no clear word breaks as we understand them, yet statistical analysis shows recurring patterns suggesting linguistic structure. Certain characters appear frequently, others rarely. Words vary in length, but their distribution is unusually consistent, leading some to suspect a very sophisticated cipher or an entirely constructed language. But the illustrations truly capture the imagination and deepen the enigma, pulling the observer into a realm of surreal botanical forms and cosmological diagrams that challenge our understanding of natural history and ancient science. The manuscript is broadly divided into several thematic sections, categorized by the drawings, not any explicit labeling within the text itself. The first, and perhaps most famous, is the herbal part. Page after page depicts plants, often filling an entire sheet, meticulously drawn with roots, stems, leaves, and sometimes flowers. Yet here's the haunting paradox. Most of these plants don't exist on Earth. They're alien, fantastical hybrids, impossible combinations, or entirely novel forms defying classification. Some have roots like tentacles, others bear leaves spiraling into geometric patterns, while their flowers bloom in shapes unseen in any recorded flora. Are these imaginary plants, perhaps symbolic, or depictions of a flora from a lost world, a forgotten botany, or an allegorical landscape representing alchemical processes or philosophical concepts? The mystery deepens when you consider that a true herbal would be used for medicine, yet without the text, their properties remain unknowable, turning a potentially practical guide into an enigma. Following the botanical wonders, we encounter the astronomical or cosmological section. Pages burst with intricate diagrams featuring suns, moons, stars, and celestial bodies arranged in patterns that don't precisely match Ptolemaic or Copernican models, nor any other known historical charts. There are concentric circles, symbolic constellations, and wheels within wheels, sometimes with tiny, mysterious figures. Some depict the zodiac, but with unique, often unsettling iconography. Others show what appear to be celestial mechanics, yet their operation remains obscure, hinting at a cosmos understood radically differently from our own. Are these astrological charts designed to predict fates or advise on auspicious timings? Are they astronomical observations from an ancient observatory? Or perhaps a Gnostic cosmology outlining a spiritual universe? The possibilities multiply, each more captivating than the last. Then comes the biological or balneological section, arguably the most bizarre and intriguing of all. This section features numerous small female figures, almost uniformly nude, with stylized faces and bodies. They are often depicted bathing in pools of green or brown liquid, or interacting with complex networks of pipes and conduits that meander across the page, sometimes resembling internal organs or intricate plumbing systems. These nymphs, as they are often called, are sometimes crowned, sometimes engaged in what look like ritualistic acts, or simply floating in these strange baths. What does this signify? Is it a treatise on hygiene, perhaps early gynecology or reproduction? Or are these illustrations symbolic of alchemical purification, soul transformation, or even a secret religious cult centered around sacred bathing rituals? The images are compelling, unsettling, and profoundly elusive in their meaning. The pharmaceutical section presents more recognizable objects, small drawings of jars, pots, and containers, reminiscent of apothecary vessels. These are often accompanied by isolated plant parts, which might be ingredients or perhaps finished remedies. This section strengthens the idea of the manuscript having a medicinal or alchemical purpose. Yet again, without the accompanying text, the connection between the vessels and the strange plants remains purely speculative. Finally, there's a section known as the recipes or stars section, primarily text-based, with smaller, more abstract markings or stars in the margins, and sometimes what appear to be lists or instructions. This section is often considered the most challenging to interpret, as visual cues are minimal, leaving only the relentless, unyielding script to ponder. The sheer volume of effort invested in this creation is staggering. Someone painstakingly prepared the vellum, mixed the inks and paints, meticulously drew hundreds of illustrations, and wrote hundreds of thousands of characters in an unknown script. This was no casual undertaking. It was a monumental labor, suggesting a profound purpose, a deep conviction in the importance of its content. And yet, this purpose remains shrouded in impenetrable silence. For over 600 years, the Voynich Manuscript has circulated through the hands of emperors, alchemists, scholars, and ultimately librarians, each hoping to unlock its secrets. Its documented history begins in the early 17th century with Georg Baresch, an alchemist from Prague who, baffled by the book, sent it to the renowned Jesuit scholar Athanasius Kircher in Rome, famed for his linguistic prowess and interest in hieroglyphs. Kircher, despite his reputation, could make no sense of it. The manuscript then passed through a succession of scholars and collectors, always remaining an enigma, a beautiful, frustrating challenge. Its modern name comes from Wilfrid Voynich, a Polish book dealer who acquired it in 1912 from a Jesuit college in Italy and brought it to the attention of the English-speaking world. Since then, every conceivable method of decipherment has been applied. Linguists have tried frequency analysis, statistical methods, and comparison with known languages. Cryptographers have attacked it with techniques ranging from simple substitution ciphers to complex polyalphabetic systems. Computer algorithms have crunched its character patterns, seeking any hidden structure. Yet, the Voynich Manuscript has stubbornly resisted every single attempt. It remains a fortress of linguistic and symbolic complexity, unbroken and unyielding. Why does it remain undeciphered? This is the core question that fascinates us, and the answer isn't simple, but lies at the heart of its enduring allure for occultists, seekers of hidden knowledge, and anyone drawn to the edges of human understanding. One primary theory is that it's written in a lost natural language, perhaps from an isolated community, or an extinct tongue for which no Rosetta Stone exists. However, its statistical properties, particularly consistent word lengths, and lack of certain common linguistic features make this unlikely for many. Some linguists argue it possesses features consistent with language, but an entirely unique one. Another popular theory suggests it's a sophisticated cipher. If so, it's a cipher of unparalleled complexity, one that has eluded the greatest minds in cryptography for a century. Perhaps it uses a polyalphabetic cipher, where characters change meaning based on position, or a homophonic cipher, where multiple symbols represent the same letter to thwart frequency analysis. Or maybe it employs steganography, where the true message is hidden within seemingly random letters, with only specific patterns holding meaning. The sheer volume of text makes brute force attacks computationally intensive. But the lack of progress suggests something more fundamental is at play. Could it be a null cipher, where only certain letters are read, or a gridded cipher, where text is arranged spatially? The possibilities multiply, yet no proposed key has ever unlocked a coherent message. Then there's the possibility that the manuscript is a hoax, a deliberately constructed piece of nonsense designed to fool collectors and extract money. This theory gains some traction given the sheer difficulty of decipherment. If it is a hoax, it's a masterwork of deception, requiring immense effort to create a convincing yet meaningless pseudo-language and illustrations. However, The consistent internal logic of the script, its statistical regularities, and the artistic quality of the illustrations often argue against it being a simple trick. Could it be glossolalia or automatic writing? A stream of consciousness produced in a trance-like state, a subconscious outpouring that possesses internal structure but no conscious meaning. For many, the most compelling theories situate the Voynich Manuscript within the realm of esoteric knowledge. Occultists see it as a potential grimoire, a book of magic, perhaps containing spells, rituals, or keys to alchemical transformations. The strange plants could be magical herbs with properties unknown to conventional science, used in potions or elixirs. The cosmological diagrams could be astrological keys to unlocking celestial powers or mapping spiritual planes. The bathing nymphs could represent alchemical processes of purification and transformation, or rituals of a mystery cult. Within this framework, indecipherability isn't a failure, but a feature, a deliberate veil protecting powerful, dangerous, or sacred knowledge from the uninitiated. Such a book would end needing to be encrypted, not just to hide it from inquisitors, but to ensure that only those with proper esoteric training and understanding could ever hope to access its true meaning. This idea of a hidden, powerful text resonates deeply with a certain human impulse, the desire for ultimate knowledge, for the lost wisdom of the ancients, for a secret key that unlocks the universe. The Voynich Manuscript, in its stubborn silence, becomes a perfect canvas for these projections. It hints at a world where knowledge wasn't freely shared but guarded, where insights were revealed only to those who had undergone rigorous training or initiation. It implies a cosmology, a botany, a medicine utterly distinct from our own, a forgotten paradigm that might hold answers to questions we no longer even know how to ask. The allure for occultists is particularly strong because the manuscript embodies the very essence of the esoteric tradition: hidden wisdom, symbolism, and the idea that deeper truths are often veiled behind complex systems. An undeciphered text functions as a perpetual symbol of the unmanifested, the potential, the truth that waits to be revealed. It becomes a focus for meditation, for intuition, for the very act of seeking beyond the obvious. It suggests that reality itself might be far more multidimensional and coded than our rational minds typically allow, that there are levels of meaning accessible only through a different kind of perception, a different way of knowing. What if the Voynich Manuscript is not merely a book, Jabai secrets, but a secret hymn itself? What if its purpose isn't to convey information in a linear, decipherable way, but to induce a state of mind, to function as a meditational tool, or even to serve as a kind of philosophical koan, whose very inscrutability forces the seeker to confront the... This is where the notion of the book as a metaphysical object, rather than just a historical artifact, begins to take shape. It stops being just parchment and ink and begins to vibrate with a deeper, more challenging significance. The modern world, for all its technological advancements, hasn't eradicated this fundamental human yearning for mystery. In fact, in an age of abundant information, the unknown takes on a new kind of power. We constantly search for deeper truths, for narratives that explain the complexities of existence beyond the mundane. We find ourselves drawn to tales of ancient conspiracies, lost civilizations, and hidden knowledge, because these stories speak to an unconscious recognition that our received version of reality might be incomplete, perhaps even profoundly flawed. The Voynich Manuscript, therefore, functions as a powerful symbol of this deeper quest. It represents the ultimate uncracked code, the absolute barrier to conventional understanding, and thus, paradoxically, the ultimate gateway to a different kind of knowledge, a knowledge gained not through decipherment, but through contemplation of the mystery itself. Consider the pervasive feeling in modern life that we're constantly bombarded with information, yet starved for meaning. We have access to more facts than any generation before, but often feel a growing disconnect, a sense of superficiality. This is where the Voynich Manuscript becomes strangely relevant. It stands as a stark contrast to our data-driven existence. It offers a kind of resistance, a profound refusal to yield its essence to our contemporary analytical tools. It demands a different approach, perhaps one rooted in intuition, in symbolic interpretation, in a willingness to surrender to the enigma rather than conquer it. This resistance isn't merely an academic challenge, it's a psychological one. The manuscript forces us to confront the limits of our own cognitive frameworks. We're conditioned to seek solutions, to break down complex problems, to find clear, logical answers. The Voynich Manuscript offers none of that. It offers only persistent, beautiful, frustrating incomprehension. And in that incomprehension, there's a profound lesson. Perhaps not all knowledge is meant to be rationally acquired. Perhaps some truths are meant to be felt, experienced, or intuitively grasped, rather than explicitly decoded. This is why it resonates with that feeling of recognition and unease we spoke of at the beginning. The subtle fracture in the ordinary that hints at deeper dimensions of reality. The act of collective belief, or even collective pursuit, in the face of such a mystery, creates consequences often mistaken for fate. For centuries, scholars have poured their lives into this book, driven by a deep-seated conviction that something meaningful must be hidden within its pages. This conviction, this shared quest, has shaped careers, funded expeditions, and fueled countless hours. The manuscript, in a very real sense, has created its own destiny, not through active will, but through its persistent refusal to yield. Its very existence, its ongoing mystery, draws people in, compelling them to project their own hopes, theories, and intellectual ambitions onto its silent pages. This collective engagement, this centuries-long dance of fascination and frustration, transforms the manuscript from a mere object into a living, evolving symbol. It becomes a symbol of the ultimate secret, the unrevealed truth that whispers at the edges of our perception. And what does this symbol reveal about Decode? It reveals our insatiable hunger for meaning, our profound discomfort with the truly unknown, and our enduring hope that there's more to reality than meets the eye. The very act of attempting to decode it is a testament to our faith in underlying order, in the belief that even the most chaotic-seeming patterns must contain a hidden structure, a language waiting to be discovered. This drive isn't merely intellectual. It is deeply spiritual, a profound longing for connection to something larger, something more profound than the immediate, tangible world. Consider the theories that position the manuscript as a magical text. The concept of magic, at its heart, is about understanding and manipulating hidden forces, about speaking a language that influences reality beyond the mundane. If the Voynich Manuscript is indeed a grimoire, then its undeciphered state is not a bug, but a feature. It means the true language of magic isn't meant to be easily read by the uninitiated. It requires a deep, intuitive understanding, a connection to the very forces it describes. The impossible plants, then, aren't just botanical curiosities, but symbolic representations of archetypal energies or forgotten healing properties. The cosmic diagrams aren't just star charts, but maps of consciousness, pathways to other realms or states of being. The bathing nymphs aren't just women in water, but embodiments of vital life forces, processes of purification or spiritual rebirth. When we look at the Voynich Manuscript through this lens, it ceases to be a mere historical puzzle and becomes a profound mirror. It reflects our own spiritual longings, our desire for meaning beyond the material, our intuitive sense that there are indeed hidden mechanisms at play in the universe. The frustration of its undecipherability becomes a metaphor for the human condition itself. We stand before the great mysteries of existence, equipped with our limited tools, endlessly searching for a language that will unlock the ultimate truth. The Voynich Manuscript embodies that search, that longing, that persistent, haunting question. Then, what changes when this hidden mechanism is finally seen? Not the mechanism of a cipher, but the deeper mechanism of our own attraction to such mysteries. When we recognize that the Voynich Manuscript, in its defiance, compels us to look inward, to question our assumptions about knowledge and reality, something shifts. We begin to understand that the book's true power might not lie in its eventual decipherment, but in its perpetual challenge. It is a catalyst for contemplation, a prompt for the imagination, a tangible embodiment of the idea that some truths are not meant to be conquered, but embraced in their mysterious totality. The realization is this: the Voynich Manuscript, even if it remains forever undeciphered, offers us something far more profound than a mere translation. It offers us an invitation to re-engage with mystery itself, to cultivate a different kind of intelligence, one that thrives in ambiguity, that finds meaning not just in answers, but in the relentless, beautiful pursuit of the question. It reminds us that some of the most profound truths aren't spoken in words we understand, but whispered in the silence between them, in the impossible forms of unearthly plants, and in the eternal, knowing gaze of cosmic diagrams. It is a haunting, persistent echo from a world that understood the power of secrets, and perhaps the deeper power of the unknowable. It asks us to consider, what if some books aren't meant to be read, but to be felt? What if their true content lies not in their legible words, but in their capacity to open a space within us, a chamber where the rational mind momentarily quiets and ancient intuition is allowed to speak? The Voynich Manuscript isn't just an unbreakable code. It is a timeless key designed not to open a lock, but to unlock something within the seeker themselves. Its mystery is its message, perpetually reminding us that the universe is vast, and our understanding is but a tiny, shimmering fragment. It asks us to look again, not just at the pages, but at the landscape of our own minds, at the boundless reaches of what is yet to be known, and to recognize that the most forbidden books are often those that reveal the most about ourselves. The journey into its depths is not one of solving, but of becoming, of expanding our capacity to live with and be enriched by the profound mysteries that still hold sway over our world. If this exploration into the hidden depths of ancient enigmas resonates with your own sense of wonder, consider subscribing to the Enchanted archive. Join us as we continue to uncover the forgotten stories and concealed truths that shape our understanding of existence.